Metal Nation. This is Podcasting Down. I'm Tim, that's Mike. And Mike, take it away. Because I don't even know what this one's about.
Okay. I went through a period of my metal musical journey where I was like, okay, I think I like weird metal. Because one of the first bands I listened to was Gorguts, Obscura, and Obscura is a very unusual album. Obscura, it doesn't have heavy distortion. The guitars are distorted, but it's a very like aggressive, dissonant album that uses like pick scraping and like hands wagging over the keyboard as actual musical elements. Okay.
Since we've been looking at reviews, one person gave it a 5 and multiple people gave it 100, including someone with the username Ziltoid. Is that you?
It's not me, but I love Obscura. Obscura is a fantastic album. Gorguts was at the first death metal show I ever saw. Sadly, also Dying Fetus was there, so I'm still trying to recover from that. But anyway, so I started looking for a lot of like avant-garde metal, right? Like this is the term that you can find. And one of the bands I stumbled on was this band called WALTARI. So I don't know a whole lot about WALTARI. They're a Finnish band. But if you
all right, I got it.
All right,
stand by.
Okay, so
I'm still here.
Uh-oh.
I'm still here.
So I'm going through and I find this album by WALTARI called Yeah, Die, Death Metal Symphony in Deep Sea.
That sounds exactly like something you'd like.
Yes, it does. So there's a few interesting things about this. One, this was recorded in 1995. So it's actually like if you think in terms of...
Is this the band you're talking about?
I have no idea.
All right, well, how about is this the band you're talking about?
Yes.
All right, here's their picture. They got a lot of red hair dye.
Half of them look like they just got out of bed. Yeah. Some of them look like they're really cold.
That guy looks like the encyclopedia definition of a fin.
All right, so Death Metal Symphony in Deep Sea. So this was recorded in 1995, which, to my knowledge, predates a lot of the modern fascination.
Yeah, I believe it does.
Yeah, I mean, I know. I think Nightwish is probably like your prototype for all that stuff. They were active in 1996, so maybe it was kind of like around the time that stuff was just kind of starting. But like this fusion of death metal and black metal with
what is Deep Sea exactly? Because it's the letter.
I have no idea.
So it's like. There's water on the cover. Is that the deep sea? I'm confused.
That's pretty good. But
go on.
So I've tried. I want to like this, and I can't really get through it.
It's too weird for you.
It's not even that. I can't tell if it's done very well. I don't think it is. All right, so. I mean, I can get you about to track like part 3, looking at the track listing here, and that's about where it's like I don't think I can go any further. So you've got track 1, Misty Dreariness. Misty Dreariness is a very repetitive string arrangement for 7 minutes, and it would be cool if it were 1 or 2. However, this was originally like a stage play.
Okay.
So maybe it made more sense. Yeah, Die features the story of John Doe, whose life is being controlled by a central computer brain. An angel helps John Doe defeat the computer brain, but without this controlling force, John Doe feels lost. He changes his mind and decides to save the computer brain. at the end, the libretto says, "Everybody simply decides to vanish into thin air and disappear into the pages of internet."
Of internet?
Of internet.
I love computer brain because it's hyphenated.
Yeah. Okay, so Misty Dread is like, Dan, and it's kind of gloomy and creepy, and it's like, okay, I like this. And it builds and it builds, and it's like, I tend to like it when there's like this slow build, but it just never goes anywhere. It's not a 7-minute build, man. You can't do this for 7 minutes. And then we get to the sign, and then this is where I feel like this album sort of gets a little too weird for me, and it's one of the reasons I have difficulty getting through it. We then go into like just death metal, so we lose a lot of the orchestration.
Okay,
it's like this, we're on, we're going a million miles an hour, and you've got these fairly competent deep vocals. Occasionally, you get in these, soprano. Is that what they are? I don't know. It's fucking crazy, like operatic vocals.
Mikko Waltari was a famous Finnish author who died in 1979.
Okay. I did not know that. All right, so during the sign, it plods along. Right. It's 8 minutes long.
Point of order. Metal Archives lists the song as a sign, and part 2 is called The Sign. Now, in Finnish, they don't have articles. So I'm just going to chalk it up to that. They don't have a sign or the sign. If you want to say the sign, you put it at the front of the sentence. If it's a sign, you put it at the end of the sentence. Finnish is fucking weird, man. All right, go on.
Just further compounding this episode.
Yep.
But the biggest issue is, you get the opera vocals, you get the death metal vocals. The death metal parts remind me of like very early Therion.
So there's an angel and a machine in the lyrics I'm seeing.
I have no idea what the hell anybody's saying. But then the clean vocals come in, and the clean vocals to me are really bad. Like the clean male vocals, it almost sounds like this, like he's saying kind of, and it just cuts through fucking everything. And I find it at this point, the instant those clean vocals come on, I can't take the album seriously anymore, and I can't get much further in this. And I've tried for years. It's just not very well done, very strange, and I've getting into part 3 deeper into the mud. We got more standard death metal and but at that point, I'm sort of bored, to be totally honest with you.
All right, I think we could look to the reviews, because there's a good review and a bad review and a medium review.
Okay.
That may be able to answer this question. I'm going to start with a good review. 92%, the only good metal classical hybrid ever, dated 2005. So
this is a pretty old review for an even older album.
Yes, but also, there have been, even in 2005, there were good metal and symphonic fusions. Probably the most commercially successful of which was S&M by Metallica. So, but this says, in the history of rock, there have been many attempts. These are Metal Archive reviews, by the way, and this was written by Napero. In the history of rock, there have been many attempts to create an album or a symphony of some kind with both metal or rock and classical music. Mostly those attempts fall flat. Usually they remain average at best, like Deep Purple's concerto for the group and orchestra. There are entertaining gimmicks such as Apocalyptica. Some are downright embarrassing, such as Metallica's S&M. Oh, I hit the button, but it didn't go. There we go. that leaves an eerie aftertaste of rich dudes creating an album of recycled covers of themselves with over 50 professional music. That's the point of it. That is the point of it. All right. Only because they can afford to pay enough money for it. And that's why they did it, because they can afford it. Anyway, there are also varied rock operas and musicals, but they usually stay humbly in rock and do not even try to intrude on the classical side. WALTARI's attempt, the Death Metal Symphony in Deep Sea, chooses a totally different approach. The metal on this strange album is equal in importance to the classical parts, and the concept carries the whole much farther than any of the parts than any other such work that I've ever heard of. The simple idea behind the success, the orchestra and WALTARI rarely play simultaneously and thereby avoid the cruel trap of volume competition this kind of production suffers from too often. The quieter classical parts are handled by the orchestra, and WALTARI deals with the metal. And the extreme contrast is what makes the whole so exquisite. It is no.
See, I think that's what I don't like about it. Actually,
Yeah.
like I think the fact that it feels like two competing bands, is what loses it for me. Because if you turn to like Septic Flesh, which is a much newer band, but like they and even Flesh God Apocalypse, who I don't particularly care for, but it's like they work it into the music, so it feels like the orchestration feels like it belongs, as opposed to it being like, all right, metal band, take 5, orchestra's got this, fuck it. I don't think I like the whole like metal stop, orchestra go, orchestra stop, metal go.
All right. Here's the 35% review by. It's by our friend. It's by our friend. He's helping us. This guy has probably reviewed everything.
I think so.
All right. Well, I have a polar agree-disagree ratio with him, and I either totally agree or completely disagree with his score.
Right.
All right. No, this release isn't as innovative as many experts and fans claim. This is by Clue Saba, by the way. The stupidly entitled Yeah, Die, Death Metal Symphony in Deep Sea with an abysmal cover that makes Iron Maiden's Ed Hunter artwork look like a brilliant piece of art.
Yeah, the cover looks like the cover of an Atari Jaguar game.
Yeah, but it's mid-90s computer art, so it's not going to be good, So
True.
It's as not good as you're picturing in your head. The different genres are rarely fusioned, which is what you just said, and mostly stand apart. When they get mixed once in a while, they rarely harmonize. WALTARI didn't really try out anything completely new either, as bands such as Phlebotomized and Therion were already mixing classical music and extreme metal elements back in the days in a much better way. The overlong opener, Misty Dreariness, doesn't feature any rock or metal elements and is basically an I've never seen this word before. Elegiac.
Elegiac?
Yeah, sure. Piece of classical music plodding on for almost 8 abominable minutes.
And that's basically what I was just saying. It's like it's too long. That's a bit. That's it.
As if that wasn't enough, the middle part of this album, he got farther than you. Features a slow-paced classical music instrumental entitled Completely Alone that even breaks the 12-minute mark. It's not because a track is long that it means it's experimental, intellectual, or progressive. Yeah, put that in your Iron Maiden review. Just because it's long doesn't mean it's progressive or good. Anyway, now don't get me wrong. I admire classical music and listen to everything from Bach and Beethoven over Wagner and Tchaikovsky to Orff and Varese. But there is great and inspired classical music, and there is pseudo-intellectually plotting classical music. This here is definitely the second category. It gets much worse, though, as Move is a horrible mixture of female operatic vocals and male rap passages while the instruments play a really odd mixture of highly repetitive classical music with some scratching. A wannabe Montserrat Caballé meets a wannabe Chuck D in a new metal prototype that makes even the worst Limp Bizkit song sound clever. The suffering doesn't end here for the listeners.
That's a great line.
That's a
great line.
As the band closes the regular version of this release with The Top. That is rather the bottom of this record. Hey, clever. We get to hear uninspired classical music featuring technoid elements that actually sound like a mixture of cringeworthy Eurodance elements and dumb darkwave sounds somewhere between DJ Bobo and Das Ich. Those who are complaining about Morbid Angel's Illud Divinum Insanus should actually listen to this track and will realize that the experimental fusion of metal and darkwave can sound much worse than they might have thought before. All right. I give this review a gold star. It keeps going. It keeps going. He complains that the metal's not in there. Less than about 1/3 or a little bit less is actually death metal. Badly recorded mixture of early Atrocity and early Therion. Yeah. So let's jump ahead. Now, why doesn't this release get an even lower rating? A few songs actually managed to mix death metal elements and classical music in an interesting way, like the well-elaborated A Sign. Okay, so you said you didn't like that song because of the vocals, right?
It's okay until you get to the vocals, or the clean male vocals. Those are the things that I find like I don't find the song like spectacular, but at a certain point it just loses me. If that makes sense.
Yes, it does. Okay, so I think what we've figured out is if you can't get through the opening track without being bored, and you can't get through the first song, the second track, the first death metal song, I don't think you're gonna have a good time continuing with the rest of the album. Especially they're talking about the rap in the middle of it. Don't do it. Don't listen to it. This is bad weird. This is a bad weird album.
Yeah, it is very strange. But it's an interesting little footnote, being a fairly early death metal, symphonic death metal.
Also, this review is titled No, Stop.
That's pretty good.
Random genre mix ahead. 35%. All right, so there you go. Did we solve is your problem solved? Don't bother.
I'm still curious. That's the problem.
Oh.
Like I need to get further into this freaking album because it's such a weird listen. But man, those male vocals are just so.
Yeah, but it's bad weird,
Yeah.
Oh, check out the artwork for Big Bang. It looks like someone made it on Microsoft Word. Not even Paint. It's like a fractal sun with like two painful fonts over it that have a bad gradient.
They loaded up the GIMP and then found out that they could do like those weird little effects.
Yeah.
And then did that.
I know this came out in 95, so perhaps that's unfair.
All right, so next.
Oh, they put out a new album in 2020 and 2020.
Yeah, they're still active.
And it has like them as anime characters on it, and like a tribal tattoo.
What the hell?
I don't know what's going on.
Okay. All right, so next time we're going to have to go over How the World Came to an End by Manes. They're Norwegian.
Spell that.
Manes. mains.
If they're Norwegian, it's probably like Manus.
Yeah, but genre black metal early, experimental / electronic / jazz later.
Oh man.
Their first album is like Under ein Bloodroud Muna, like under a blood red moon.
Yep.
Like, oh, fucking it's hard, it's heavy, and then it gets real weird.
Yeah, we might need to make this Mike's weird music corner a thing.
Oh, I got more. I got Fluidity.
I don't doubt it.
We're trying. There's some I've never even heard. I'm still trying to hear Satan's God. I just know that they exist.
Good band name. Okay, until next time, Metal Nation, keep your classical and your metal mixed together. Cast.